Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fabulous Ask Engineer. We're broadcasting live here from the Adafruit factory. Now MOSFET storage factory, I guess. We got an exciting show for you today. We're back from a trip to Texas.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about all the cool stuff that happened this week and things that happened in the past as well.
Okay.
Tell them about what's on tonight's show, Phil.
Okay, tonight's code is Resi. We'll talk about why it's Resi. We took a trip to Texas where Lady Ada accepted her award. We'll talk about.
It was heavy.
We'll talk about that in just a bit. We had an awesome show and tell with some really cool projects. There is something that I've never seen before, and now it is here. It's a book from the past about electronics, and there's cartoon characters. We will talk about plushies making the rounds, a petition at the White House site, non-commercial license discussions, a job posting for Little Bits, mailbag, community corner, open source hardware, a little bit of Arduino stuff. We got some time travel Tuesday, got some Mickey Monday. We've got some stuff from the Adafruit learning system. We've got wearable Wednesdays, 3D Thursdays, some stuff from the world of Raspberry Pi.
Pi Day.
And we have a couple top secret things. We'll answer your questions. We'll have a trivia question. We'll have a cat. All that and more on Ask an Engineer. So we were out, and we have a bunch of new products that we're just holding off until...
So there's no new products this week.
No new products this week. We're just going to
But you know what? That means you get twice as much of us.
Yeah.
And isn't that glorious?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just show the cat for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we're going to spin
No,
off... We'll spin off MOSFET's own show.
Yeah, the MOSFET Hour.
Yeah.
With Jim MOSFET.
Yeah. And we'll get that going soon.
The MOSFET
we're
show.
in contract negotiations.
He's got an agent.
Yeah. So we'll have more time for you to answer some engineering questions, so save them up, folks.
Also, we hopefully won't run over. I feel bad.
We've been running over a lot because
George has to film.
Yeah, we've been putting in a ton of products. Tons of things have been going on, but now things are starting.
Next week will be glorious, though.
Yeah, we'll have new products.
But you still get 10% all things that are in stock in the Adafruit shop by using the code.
The code is Resi.
Resi.
Okay, so let's get going. Okay. So you had a quick trip. You went to Dallas, Texas.
It was 3 days.
Yeah, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Quick. Yeah.
And why did you go to Dallas, Texas?
I really wanted to try on some cowboy boots. No. Well, there's actually a Pro Museum which you didn't get to go to.
Didn't get to go to the Pro Museum. Really wanted to.
If you go to Dallas, please go to the Pro Museum for us because it looked really cool, but we had absolutely no time in our trip. Yeah. We were there for the Entrepreneur Magazine Growth Con, which is a yearly, it's another fifth year conference on entrepreneurship and growth. It was actually a really interesting event. And it was held in the Dallas Convention Center. It's held actually in a different location every year. So it'll be somewhere else next year. And it's actually completely sponsored by the UPS store. So thank you, UPS store. It was free for attendees, which is cool. And they
entrepreneurs from around the world, and there was, I don't know, almost 1,000 of them come in. And they all get together, and there are sessions during the day. Yeah. And they all start talking about how they all either run companies, want to run companies. There's a pitch session and all that. But at the end of the day, or like middle of the day, I should say, because then there's also an event at night. But in the middle of the day, they had the special award ceremony, and this is you won Entrepreneur of the Year, and this is where you went and. Collected your award. They said, "Come on down."
I don't have it with me. The UPS store will ship it to me.
They're UPSing it.
They're UPSing it.
I took some photos because it was a little surreal. The first thing that was surreal is this giant poster, and this is huge. This is everything in Texas is huge. There's Lady Ada.
This is really big
on the side of this. It's like 50 feet tall.
I'm the one that has pink
hair.
Lady Ada.
And then next up, there was posters of you everywhere. So, and you're easy to spot, so everyone knew who it was you.
And then you can meet me.
Yeah. And then there was two things. Here you are accepting the award. That's the president of UPS Store, and that's the editor-in-chief of the Entrepreneur Magazine. Yeah. And the set or the stage was made to look like a UPS store.
It was really cute.
And the UPS store, they had some of their franchisees. So the the UPS store is
it's a franchise.
It's a franchise, so it's set up so anyone, if they're motivated to provide like shipping services and printing and like all that stuff, excuse me, they could start up their own UPS store.
And so they had a bunch of there's actually 4,300 stores total, they said.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that all of them contribute to the advertising fund. When you franchise, you have to pay into this fund, and so in a sense, they did pay for the event. These people on stage, they were the people who paid for it, and so it's really sweet. One of them was from Alaska.
Yeah, came all the way up from Alaska.
A lot from the Midwest, and they were just really hardworking business owners.
I'll tell you what I liked about the conference the most is business people are our people. Within a minute, you can start talking about so many different things that happened when you run a business. So one person had a subscription service where you got gluten-free food delivered. Now, I'm not a dietitian. I don't know about that. But you know what? The first thing I started asking, oh, really? How do you ping credit cards? Who do you use to store the credit card data? Who's PCI compliant, which is a way to make sure the system is secure for credit card information.
Yeah.
And right away,
he knew, which is cool.
Right away, and we just started talking. Oh, well, I used to use this company, but then I switched to this one.
And this is he's like, I know my exact rates down to like the decimal percentage, which is cool.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, but the percentage is more, but they take care of everything. Stripe was highly recommended for this. And the reason we asked is because we're going to be, this year, deploying a Kit subscription service.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is because all these entrepreneurs are go-getters, people walking by, they're like, oh, wait a second, you're doing a subscription service? I was thinking that too. And everybody starts talking.
Yeah.
So that was really neat. And there were so many people. You did an amazing talk. If we can get a video of it, we will. A beautiful story about how you became an engineer when you first knew, when you were 10 years old. Really good story. But what was neat was all the people, especially the women out there, who talked about how they want their daughters and sons to do engineering, and how they were going to right away go get some of the electronic kits that you mentioned, some of the learning resources. So that was really neat. And then we learned a lot about the products and companies that were there. And those are companies that we want to do business with or just buy some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And participate. So that was really cool. Anyways, so good work.
Yeah.
Then we had dinner at a really neat place. One night, and the other night we had some Tex-Mex, and Tex-Mex kind of knocks you out, so you're feeling better now, though, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I don't think they washed their hands. Should have gone to Sandy Taco.
I think it was
the clean and sanitary taco.
I think it was the margarita that you have. I think you're not a margarita person.
You think the margarita was my... Okay.
I think that you just can't handle your margaritas.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was no alcohol in that margarita.
Lady ate on a Tex-Mex
In fact,
vendor.
that's probably the problem. That if I'd had an alcoholic margarita, like if they'd actually put alcohol in it, it would have killed off all the bacteria.
You after the fifth margarita, I think that's when I should have cut you off.
I had like half of a margarita.
Okay, so next up, we had a show and tell right before the show, half an hour before the show, Ask an Engineer show, that is. We have a show and tell. And
we had 3 people, but it was action-packed.
It was good. Let's talk about these. The first one, these were all fantastic. I'm going to say how they were each one of these were my favorite. Seamus showed the WaterBot 2.0.
WaterBot.
And this was really neat because it grows vines, it waters them. Yeah. They're morning glories, and he has it set up so his camera's going to take photos. Yeah. Apparently the vines grow so fast they can turn in a 360 in 1 hour. Yeah. And he had a really interesting system. It uses Arduino. Some of the Arduino stuff that's out there.
Yep.
The RGB modules, the I2C encoder, and really neat project.
Yeah, so
Super
it was
cool.
a Vine time-lapse photography.
Yeah. Oh, we have a... Wait. Well, folks, this is a kind of a first. MOSFET has decided to get in the show. Okay. All right.
And then what was up after that?
Guillermo built an NES controller from some Adafruit parts.
He's famous for the Marshmallow Pi system. I don't completely... It's some like NES Raspberry Pi thing, but this time it was actually just an NES controller.
Yeah. All right. And then William was in, and he made an amazing USB voltage tester.
Yeah, super handy.
And what's neat about this is he ran the boards at OSH Park.
Yep.
Put it up on Tindy, sold them, and it's a very useful thing. You just built something like this. Do you want to tell everybody what
it is? So he's building something that's handy. Often when you're like plugging stuff into USB, because it's USB and not a power supply, it's hard to like know exactly what the voltage and current draw is because you can't there's no output. So we made a little breakout board that makes it easy for you to measure the voltage using a multimeter and then measure the current with a multimeter. And I mentioned how I built something similar, but actually I made it with our little multimeter voltage thingies, panel meters. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm working on one. He showed a preview of a version he's working on that uses a microcontroller and our high-level current sensor, the INA 219, I believe. And then also our little OLED display, so we'll actually have a little graph of like current usage. So that's cool.
Okay. And all people who showed up at the show and tell are eligible for the As Seen on Show and Tell sticker. Just email support@adafruit.com if you've been on the show and tell, and we can send you a show and tell sticker.
Yep.
What's neat is we're starting to see these arrive on projects everywhere. That's cool. Hey, Ada, how do they get on the show and tell?
It's super easy. Go to the Adafruit Google Plus page. It's at plus.google.com/plus-Adafruit. And look for the post where I say, comment here to get added to the show and tell circle. Comment there, and just make sure that you actually have a project to show off. We'll add you, and then any week that you have a project, you'll get invited to automatically to the show and tell. It gets broadcast auto-magically onto YouTube. Sorry, it's like Google Plus, YouTube. There's too many Google things, and you can show up any day, any week in the future. And we have like 200 people signed up right now, so it's kind of cool.
Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of
It's kind of distracting. This cat's staring at me.
This cat is staring at you.
Stop it.
Yeah, he's looking at you. Okay.
Cat.
Next up on the show, we're going to jump right into some of the things that we want to show tonight because we have a little bit more time. This just came in the mail.
Yeah, you ordered this book.
I ordered this book. So this book is, you can open it up if you want over there. It's called Resi and Transi, Banish the Mysteries of Electronics.
Do you want me to show it on the overhead or up?
Yeah, you can show it on the overhead. It included a printed circuit board. It came with a poster.
Did it come with a circuit board?
That's what it says.
It doesn't come with a circuit board.
And this is a poster that comes on the inside. We're doing a lot of research for kids games and for illustrations with electronics.
Yeah.
And
it's a fairly big book.
Yeah.
It's like
It's from 1982 when a lecturer, right? A lecturer decided to do a kids book. And it's pretty rare, so let's go to the overhead.
Yeah. Oh man, this cat's really in the way. So yeah, it's a fairly long book. There's like a capacitor and a resistor and they're friends, I guess. And they meet like a transistor, and then like there's little analogies, and then there's stories, and then there's like the resistor color code, which will appear shortly again in the news. And it kind of goes through like, it's a description. It's a comic, and it's a little bit, in my opinion, dry because it's mostly theory stuff, and water-based analogies. And I kind of wish there was more actual building involved. And I think there is, but like you have to go find the parts, and it's difficult. So I don't know. I have to read. We just got it today, so I haven't read through it. But it's from a time when there was only analog, so it's like this is before Arduino, right?
Yeah. So we want to take a really good look at this and see what they decided to come up with. Can you hand me the poster?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so it also this is the sheet of paper
here.
Yeah.
There's multiple.
It's okay. So I'm gonna go to
this
here. So this is a poster it came with. Check this out. And this is pretty good for being over 20 years old. It was well preserved.
Yeah, that's like on acid-free paper.
Yeah. And so we're really interested in what other people thought was a good way to teach electronics to kids. We have Circuit Playground. We have our own coloring book. And this is interesting. Printed in the Netherlands, 1982. Lector Publishers.
Lector from Canterbury. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, British electronics publishing is actually still pretty good. Like some of the best magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
Still published.
So that's pretty amazing. Anyways, they're really rare. I could only find one in the world that was in decent condition, and it came with the poster.
Yeah.
So,
it's cool. I'm going to check this out. I mean, I'm not really. I mean, I understand at the time that there was like in '82, this was the only way to teach electronics, but I like more electronics were like with Arduino stuff, where it's more interactive.
Yeah, and they also had to do some illustrations. These are transistors. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Okay, let's keep moving. Speaking of, the plushies were released. This is Connie, and Connie's a transistor, and people are taking photos of these plushies everywhere. We're getting photos. If you haven't checked it out, go on the site.
Yeah.
And
if you have a plushie, take a photo and send it to us.
So we released the first ever plushies that look like electronic components.
Yeah.
And kids are getting them, adults are getting them, and we're starting to see them all over the place. So this is a nice, fun, pleasant surprise. Next up, news time, Lady Ada.
News.
This was neat. We put this on the site. Make the metric system a standard in the United States instead of the imperial system. How do you feel about the metric system?
You don't talk to me about this.
No?
No, because I use the imperial system.
You use the imperial system?
Yeah, I'm not really... Because it's what I use.
That's what you use. If it were to switch over tonight, would you like it or not like it?
It'd be annoying. Everything I do in electronics is imperial.
Yeah?
In electronics, everything is still measured in imperial units.
Yeah.
Sorry, dudes. 0.1-inch spacing, mils.
Would you be willing to take a hit and some inconvenience for then everybody...
I would, but I'm just saying, like, when I lay out circuit boards, who cares? I export it to Gerbers, and then it's, sent out and made. It doesn't matter what it's done in.
Well, this is using a new We the People system on the White House site.
This is bullshit.
And, well, let me tell you what else is funny.
Yeah.
So there's way more votes to build a Death Star. And so the White House, because anyone can put anything up and everyone can vote on it. And
but the entire auto industry is imperial, too.
So, yeah. So, the White House did respond to the Death Star. So, we're not going to get one. Sorry, folks. It was going to cost like $2 quadrillion or something. And Barack Obama had said over Twitter, why would we want to buy something that could be destroyed by a one-man StarCraft?
Yeah, see?
That's a good point. So, the no on the Death Star, unknown on the metric system. Just a reminder to everybody, we have a iHeart metric system badge, and we have a requirements doc and a skill doc.
Prove me wrong. Buy this badge.
Yeah, and it's actually metric size, so you can use it to measure, 3 centimeters.
4 centimeters at a time.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. We the people. People are voting on it. Do you know how many more people voted for the Death Star? This is why we can't have nice democracies.
I know.
All right.
Okay.
Speaking of, not really. So you had sent this to me, and then I posted it up on the site. This is a discussion about. There's a paper published about why non-commercial licenses aren't actually really ever non-commercial. And this comes up.
This is my rant of like many years now. So I've always believed that the non-commercial clause for Creative Commons was the biggest mistake that Creative Commons made. I'm not the only one who thinks this, so it's not like I'm a crazy crank.
I think
Creative
Commons thinks this.
I think, even Creative Commons is like, we really wish we hadn't done it. The problem is that this has come up in open source hardware a lot. And the thing is that what non-commercial means is it's extremely difficult to actually pin down what non-commercial means. And what people think non-commercial means is not what the law may think that non-commercial means. So in this extremely long paper, they actually talk about, like, if you think your stuff is under non-commercial, here's what it can be used for, what it can't be used for. For example, it can be used by terrorists because they're a non-commercial entity. There's no money being exchanged. Terrorists can use your work, right? Or people who if you don't like religious extremists or you don't like atheist extremists, they can use your work. But somebody who has a blog that may agree with you, or that might have contributions to your art form or whatever, if they have Google AdWords to help pay for their blog hosting, that's considered commercial. A school which is using your work as part of maybe a fundraiser, that's considered commercial.
Yeah, I've got an interesting
money exchange.
I've got an interesting thing that I see happen. So let's say if you release a circuit board under non-commercial use, but then someone sends it off to a board house to make.
That may not matter because depending on how the
board house charges money.
No, but I'm saying that I agree, but you may not even. I mean, they because boards may or may not be able to be copyrighted depending on like what exactly they're remaking.
But you're saying it's non-commercial.
I think it's very difficult to define what non-commercial is. Like
if you post a photo up online and the hosting provider if someone takes it and puts it on another site, that hosting provider could be charging that person to host it.
Like some people put out designs and they say like, oh, it's non-commercial, but then it's like, okay, well that means that no, you can't get 4 people together to share the costs of making a run of circuit boards and parts because it's a commercial transaction is being involved here. So it's much more pedantic than most people would want. So instead they sort of say like, oh, well, you know what I mean. And it's like, well, no, you can't say you know what I mean, and then put a license on it. It gets very complicated, which is why I don't do anything under non-commercial.
Yeah.
Because none of the electronics I do is under non-commercial because it's very confusing. And if people do non-commercial stuff, we can't post it on our blog, and we can't post it. Yeah, we
try not to.
We can't post it anywhere on our site because Adafruit is a commercial entity.
Yeah, even though we have kind of a news section, it's very clear we are an online site that sells electronics. Yeah. We have an awesome blog, but we also are an e-commerce site, so what do you do?
So we try very hard to avoid, I mean, sometimes we slip because it's hard to know what people are licensing at, but in general, if somebody has something non-commercial, we can't even post about it.
Yeah, generally speaking, because we get asked this a lot, find a great open source license that you like if you want to get stuff out there, and if you don't want your stuff used, don't release it under any license where there's any question. Just say you need my permission. Just start out saying you can license it from me directly with a contract. It's the other side. Anyways, okay, keep moving along. On the job board, big week. Little Bits visited Adafruit. They also posted up on our job board, product developer, design engineer needed at the Adafruit jobs board. We have, I think, the best jobs board online for makers. Adafruit.com/jobs.
And it's free.
It's free. We approve all of them. There's headhunters and like weird stuff and like things that try to get through. They can't get through. We look at each one. So this is specifically for makers, and we've had a really good success rate of matching makers who want to work for cool companies and cool companies that are looking for awesome makers. Anyways.
Yes.
Speaking of.
Without recruiters.
Yeah. Mailbag time. There's Packet. Packet reads the mailbag. These are letters from customers, fans, people in the community every single week. This week it starts out a little weird, but then it gets okay, so just know. I just want to write and say how much I hate your blog. Every time I read, I either find an incredibly interesting entry or something else I just have to have, some new toy or gadget. I just love reading it. Keep up the great work. I really do love it. My wallet isn't happy with me. That's okay. I'm having too much fun. Matt. That's neat, right?
Yay!
Yeah. All right. And
I don't know how I feel about these people who are like, I'm financially ruined by all the great stuff you post. And I'm like, I mean, I don't really want to financially ruin people, but we do like to post people's cool projects.
Yeah. Next up in the community corner, Google Plus communities, Matt put together a really neat, different Matt, not the Matt who wrote the mailbag, our Matt here at Adafruit.
Yeah, pardon me.
He found a really cool post in Google Plus communities. You can join Google Plus communities. We have like almost 40,000 people now.
Yeah.
And here's what one of the folks posted in the community to share something they made.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, pardon me.
All right. Some quick news in the world of open source hardware right now, going on this second, I believe. Bunny is doing a manufacturing class.
Yeah, he's doing an IP class.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of Media Lab people, but there's also there's a bunch of his friends, I think.
Yeah.
And they're going around Shenzhen and a tour being held by AQS, and they're checking out factories, the seg market.
Yeah. What's neat is Bunny is taking people who want to get into manufacturing, and he's manufactured something start to finish on the ground in Shenzhen, and he can take you to the factories, the markets. This is stuff that things are happening so fast it'd be impossible to make a class. So he's taking the people there.
Yeah.
Really neat.
To see it live, which is cool. And Akiba Chris Akiba on his blog, which we post on our blog. We've linked to it. He's been writing every day about what they've been doing, what they've been up to. So check it out for more details.
Okay. Next up, some news in the world of Arduino. we have to have
an Arduino cough suppressant or something.
Yeah, we're coughing. I think because we just got out of planes. A couple things in the world of Arduino this week. This is on Wired. This guy proposed to his girlfriend, and he used an Arduino and a Adafruit gear and RGB LED strip, and he made a Tony Stark little movie device.
He's got a little bit of the Tony Stark look. Yeah, I can see that.
Very cool little arc reactor.
Arc reactor.
And then the other thing is, some folks posted that they got our screens to work on the new Explorer. We have these on order. What's going on here, Lady Ada?
We cannot sell the Explorer yet because it's an exclusive with Radio Shack. Yeah. Just so people wonder, why don't you have it? We ordered them as soon as it's possible for us to carry it. They will ship us some. So the Explorer is this little game controller-y thing that Arduino has come up with, and they have these slots, these header slots on the Explorer, and some wise makers have determined that the pinout on the Explorer is the same as the pinout for a 1.8-inch TFT, and so they just slotted it in and used it to change 2 or 3 pin definitions in our library example, and this is example code running on it. So I guess you could use this to make a video game where the screen is on the Explorer, which is cool.
Yeah. So this is the screen that we we have in use.
Yes, the 1.8-inch SPI TFT. I love these little screens.
Yeah. So you can see it there. So if you get an Explorer right now, which is an exclusive that Arduino has with Radio Shack, you can get one of our screens and get it to work.
Pick one up at Radio Shack, pick up a screen, and then you can maybe make some sort of video game.
Yeah. Okay. Next up. Every week we have Makey Makey Monday, and Makey Makey is a project from Jay Silver and Joy Labs, and we try to find really neat projects every week. The Makey Makey is a really fun, easy thing. If you ever want to give a bunch of people an electronic project to just get started, where they maybe don't need to know about soldering and components and all sorts of stuff, the Makey Makey is perfect because all you do is hook it up to stuff and then hook it to a computer, and basically it acts as a keyboard. So you can make musical things. And so a little close-up of what the board looks like. And we have a little video of one of the projects we found this week. And let's check it out. Very cool.
It's cool.
Right?
I wish I had the star things on my
It's a little unfair that all this stuff is finally possible. It's easy, it's low cost, and we're not kids now. Ugh.
All I had was a flashlight and a comic book.
You had a flashlight? And a comic book?
No, one week had the flashlight, one week had the comic book. I had to alternate.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay.
Okay, next up, we have a new segment that we've been doing, Time Travel Tuesdays. On Time Travel Tuesdays, what we do is look at the maker movement and actually all of science and engineering over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. In the maker world, about 10 years now, we kind of go back. We look at posts from Make, Hackaday, Adafruit, our Flickr photo pools. We've been keeping track of things for years. And then we also look around the web and then around the world. So this one's always a little hard to do because I have to have 2 computers.
Okay.
So let's get in the time machine, Lady Ada. Woo! First one, 2011. You know what's going on? Arduino SMD was released.
Yeah,
last Tuesday. Okay.
Arduino SMD. They ran out of through-hole chips.
Ran out of through-hole chips. Okay, no problem. SMD. All right. Same time last year. we were still here, running Adafruit from here, and MOSFET started to sit at the table.
And demand things.
Demanding things. He would just sit there and stare at you. That happened. Make was covering CES. They covered CES in an awesome way this year, too. Matt Richardson did a great job. Alternative CES, things that you normally don't see. Year before that, Woz was here.
Yes. This was the Monocron case.
Yeah, 2010, Woz was here. And she was showing off the Monocron. And then we went to Israel.
That's right.
For that, we actually took time. Remember when we used to take time off? We went to the beach.
That was nice.
Year before. That was 2009.
Wow, it's been a long time since we took a vacation.
Yeah, in 2008, we had a couple things going on. This was Gizmodo. They went to CES, and one of the people from Gizmodo was permanently banned. So we had just come out with the TV Be Gone kit. And the TV Be Gone kit, the high-powered, the new one, was really great. And they said, oh, Gizmodo said, we'd love to review these. So we sent them a package. They didn't really solder, so I had to make them really fast. I overnighted them. Little did I know they would take these off to Vegas, and they decided to turn off every TV at CES. Now, there's a lot of controversy about CES now. Is it a good show? Why are there all these? Why are the women just models and booth babes and not actually, technologists? Yeah. And a lot of people are saying it's just a bunch of TVs. I wish someone would just turn those TVs off. So it's kind of funny how now it's come full circle.
TV land, yeah.
Yeah. So that was 2008. In 2000, around the same time too, we had the Tweet-a-Watt going on. It was one of our projects. We also had. This is some stuff from you. What is this, Lady Ada?
This is my old kit storage shelf. This is a Zoxbox kit storage shelf. This is where I stored all my parts when I lived in a warehouse with 9 people.
And this was back in 2008?
Yeah. 2007, 2008?
2006.
2006?
2006 you were doing this.
Yeah.
So what was I doing around 2006? Well, I was making really bad decisions with virtual reality gear.
Okay.
And I was working
Fair enough.
I was working on a VR rig.
Okay.
Yeah. I was also working on a widget for Make. So you could always see all the podcasts and stuff.
Podcasts.
Yeah. Make Television was a year before that. And then let's also skip around.
I remember Make TV. That was great.
Yeah. Stephen Hawking's birthday.
This week.
And then patents.
Patents?
Yeah.
1790.
Yeah. George Washington urged Congress to support the passage of the patent law in 1790.
All right.
Big deal. Okay. So that's it with Time Travel Tuesday. So check out the category. You can see a really neat look back.
And we do this every week.
Every week.
Tuesday.
Yeah. Next up. More news around the world. Astronomy photo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like a 3D photo.
Up. Next up, these are all things on our blog we wanted to go over this week. This is Jimmy Rogers' tattoo. He got a resistor tattoo. And he also open sourced the design.
That's cool.
You got to check it out. This is one of the most interesting electronic
tattoos. It's like
tattoos.
SVG or something.
Yeah. So.
It's scalable, so you can make it any size you want.
Okay. And then we're going to skip around a little bit. Here is the Adafruit learning system.
He went advanced. He didn't put in the numbers.
No. It's universal. Adafruit learning system. A couple tutorials this week. Maybe you can talk about these.
Sure.
Learn Raspberry Pi.
We have a new Raspberry Pi tutorial. This was how to use the Occidentalist servo kernel driver that we added, and just people were asking exactly how to use it. The Raspberry Pi does not really have PWM outputs. These are what you would use to drive servos, and analog servos require a pretty precise analog PWM output. We do have a 16-channel servo driver board, which is like, it's an all-in-one thing, and it can drive 16 channels over I2C, and it's totally awesome. But a lot of people are like, well, I only want to drive one servo. What you can do is you can take over the headphone pin, the PWM output that's usually used for the headphone, and instead you can use it for servo. It's not that great. It's only like 16 positions, but it is stable, so you don't get any jitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, we show how to use that using this handy kernel driver that Sean Cross wrote for us.
Yeah, and this is what, the 8th Raspberry Pi in-depth tutorial that we have. You and Simon Monk teamed up.
Well, we have way more than that because we have.
But these are just specific ones.
These are specific. When we had like 10 projects beforehand.
Yeah. So right now we're clocking in the most resources, the most tutorials for Raspberry Pi.
Probably.
Oof. No, we are.
Yeah.
No, I count. That's my job.
Okay, fine.
I'm counting.
All right.
For Arduino, GitHub repos.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Easy.
That's great. Next up, also in the learning system, this is neat. This is from one of our employees, James, and he published a tutorial on our site. He worked on a music video, and him and Becky actually teamed up on this. And you can go to it. It's how to make an EL wire sign, and they have a music video, and these were in the video. And he actually shows how he did it. So if you ever wanted to make a really cool EL wire sign, this is a really good tutorial. And you can also see a really crazy music video. We're not hip anymore. I have no idea what was going on in this video.
I don't understand this video.
All the people in the video are having fun. They're dressed in amazing ways. We're old. We're old and we just wear black. That's us. Okay. Next up.
Flora Friday.
Wearable Wednesday.
Wearable Wednesday.
Wearable Wednesday, where we showcase all sorts of fun wearable projects. This week, I just have a couple quick things, and then a fantastic video from Becky. First thing is from Becky. This is her ironing board with the Adafruit fabric. Isn't this neat?
Nice, nice.
Yeah, Becky's been making up a storm over at Adafruit and covering all the neat things in the world of wearable electronics.
I actually kind of like. So this is like the first week where we're starting to get people sending us stuff.
Yeah.
Because
the floras have gone out, so now we're seeing all the cool projects they're doing.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a limited release, and then I wanted to wait a little bit longer just to make sure that people got them, and there was no problems with the IDE.
Yeah.
We heard only good feedback, and so
updated bootloader now.
Updated bootloader. So now Flora stuff is in stock and shipping, and we're making it around the clock around the Flora.
Yeah.
So if you've been interested, check it out. The Pixels, I think, are going to be in stock on Monday, but everything else is in stock. So sign up if you want the Pixels, but everything else you can get right now.
Yeah, people were using these machine bolts for some things with the
this is interesting. Somebody was like, if you use thin enough machine bolts, you can actually thread them in and screw together parts. And I thought that was an interesting way to, kind of like a pinch terminal, right? It's like a terminal block, but you can make it yourself. So you can wind the wire around and use washers. So check that out.
And then I made an appearance in one of the videos. Mm-hmm. This is my jacket, and I actually wear this around. It's a Flora jacket, and it lights up depending on where you are. It's also a good kind of proof of concept. We're trying to figure out like snaps and like all these different things. And so Becky has a neat video that shows you what this is about.
Yeah, let's watch this Becky and you video.
Welcome to Wearable Wednesday, folks. Today we're walking around in Soho testing out our GPS jacket made with the Flora. Flora works great with outerwear projects because the fabric is thicker and you don't have to wash the garment as much. Phil programmed Hughes to light up when we get to the Apple Store.
All right, so we're here at the Apple Store and my jacket's blinking. Now this is either a warning to others, stay away, there's Apple stuff here, or it's a beacon to go inside. I happen to really like the new iMac, so I'm gonna go inside and check out the iMac. Thank goodness my jacket told me that I was here.
All right, see ya.
This project uses the Flora GPS as well as the color-changing NeoPixels. And we'll begin by affixing the Flora to the jacket with snaps. This can be quite handy for quickly removing your Flora for use in multiple projects, and you can learn all about it in this previous episode right here. For all of you mobile users, the video links are in the description below. The pixels up around the collar require 3 connections to the Flora: power, ground, and signal attached to D6 on the Flora board. And so I've stitched all of those lines with conductive thread up to the collar area using a basic running stitch. You can learn more about using conductive thread in my tips and tricks video and also the tutorial on the Adafruit learning system. Test out your first pixel before adding 7 more along the chain around the collar, and head over to GitHub to download the code for this project, where you'll also find the libraries for the pixels and the Flora GPS module. If your battery is connected, turn the onboard switch to the off position and plug in your USB cable to program your Flora. It's a good idea to test each part of the circuit independently before using code that combines them. So, for example, I'd run the sample code for the pixels here, then run the sample code for the GPS to verify that they're both working, and then run the code for this project, the jacket, that combines the two elements. I tucked a 3x AAA battery holder in the pocket and also chose to make my GPS snappy. Tyler and I wrote a complete guide for this project, showing you how to update the coordinates with a certain range so that next time you get to your destination, you really make an entrance.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope we've inspired you to build your own wearables project and that you'll add it to the Adafruit Flickr pool or join our weekly show and tell on Google+. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube.
Okay. Well, one of the cool things about New York City is you can walk around with a blinking jacket with a GPS and a thing, and people might just ask you where you got it from. Very cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it's Soho. I mean, like, everyone's looking a little
so we've been
fashionable.
So we've been adding electronics to clothing. Becky's doing a really great job. A lot of this is experimenting because we think that, like, really not a lot of...
Well, the thing I like about it is the clothing that we're modifying and the floor electronics and Becky's sewing skills, it actually looks like just
it looks like it belongs.
Fashionable electronics. Like, people often say, like, what is this jewelry you're wearing? It looks like just like, you know, jewelry or something, because, you know, honestly, there's like a lot of junk on people right now. Like, people have chains and like brooches and like whatever, like glittery things, you know, that's in style. So it's not too unusual for me to think of a future where like everyone will have glowing LEDs.
Yeah, and the other thing for me personally is like wearable electronics was always, there wasn't a lot of things that were like dark and gothy and looks like it came out of like Blade Runner or Dune, which is more my aesthetic. And like, you know, the jacket that we modified was from G-Star, and it's like black, and it, you know, it looks like you should be taking care of a space worm.
Yeah, where's your space worm?
Yeah, space worm, right over there.
Oh.
Anyways.
No, that's MOSFET.
Yeah. Next up, 3D Thursday. A couple neat things. Big news in the world of 3D printing. First up, this Cubify printer came out, and they got Best in Show, Emerging Tech 3D Systems Cubex. And it makes bigger objects than any other printer in its price range. So
and it has 3 colors.
Yeah, big stuff.
You can get up to 3 extrudors.
Yeah, so they got another Best of CES. I think MakerBot got one year, and now 3D Systems this year. Speaking of, Thingiverse rebranded a little bit, and they're calling it MakerBot Thingiverse, and they added lots of new features, lots of new things, and APIs. So if you look at the site, you'll notice there's a customizer, which allows you to quickly customize different things, print out iPad or iPhone cases, and then check out thingiverse.com/Adafruit, and you can check out our new page with all of our stuff.
Yeah, we have like 10 designs up or something, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more than that.
And then, we have a lot of cool stuff there. And then Matt is checking in. He did a tutorial, but I'll let him tell you about it, and then I'll show you.
Hi, this is Matt, Director of Community and Support for Adafruit, and I spent this past week working on my first contribution to the Adafruit learning system. I made a tutorial for the 3D printed watch body for the Times Square watch, the Circling the Square project that I've been sharing about a little bit off and on all along. And I'm really excited to see what you guys think and what kind of projects you guys will come up with yourselves. Hi, this is Matt.
And then here's Matt's gigantic Learn System tutorial. You've got to see this. It's a start to finish of the process of making the enclosure for our watch, our Times Square watch. So if you have a 3D printer and you want to print your own watch enclosure, and you want to even start from like, I've never downloaded the software, this is a big tool chain, a free one that you can download yourself. Some are free apps, some are fees.
Yeah, I started, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. So I want to actually go through this process because I want to learn how to use these 3D modeling tools.
What's neat is, and this is one of our goals, is you would go to a hackerspace, you would start to build your Times Square watch, and in the background, you'd be printing out the enclosure for it. So when you're done making the watch, you just pop it on, and now you've got a watch. What a neat combination between electronics and 3D printing.
Yeah.
That's neat. Okay. Next up, it was Pi Day at Adafruit. Every Friday, Pi Day.
We were on a flight, but Pi Day continues unabated.
Yeah, Pi Day happens no matter what. Big release this week.
We have a big release. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to demo it in detail, but we'll
not demo, but
we'll talk about
what happened. Tell me about the Web ID. It was crazy.
It's massive. It's so massive that I actually kind of feel bad that we can't talk about it in detail. I can't demo it, but we will have tutorials that demo it soon. The next version of the Web ID, version 3, came out. Version 3 has 2 massive updates. It has a visualizer, and it has a debugger.
Yeah.
And there's both of them are in the system right now. I don't know, how we're going to integrate both. We may or may not be able to. The visualizer is something that does a post-analysis on your Python program and helps you visualize your variables and like stack execution. But which is a little bit more, which is kind of what we started with. And we got that working, and we're like, well, what we actually really want is a step debugger. So what we added to Python, this is the first time I've ever seen an IDE with Python that has a step debugger in it. I know that Python...
Back up, Lady Ada. What's a step debugger for the people who are just getting into programming?
I'm getting into that. So step debugger is what lets you go line by line stepping through your program, and it executes in real time as you step through it. So, for example, I had a program that lights up an LED, and it turns on an LED on the Raspberry Pi and then turns it off. So with the step debugger, you can actually, when you get to the line that says turn the LED on, you can step and it'll turn the LED on, and then it waits for you to tell it to continue to execute the program. Very handy for debugging or understanding how the program works, and it prints out the variables at the same time, so you can see, like, a lot of people have difficulty understanding loops. Loops are very complicated to conceptualize, or like if-then statements, or handling like input. So what we're trying to do is I really like the Arduino, but one of the annoying things about Arduino is there's no step debugging built in. Yeah. There is some hardware support for step debugging in DebugWire, but you have to have, like, it's under NDA, or I don't know, it's not easy to use. The Arduino ID doesn't support it. One of the things I like about the Web ID, because we control it and because Python had a debugger built into it, is we were able to have a SAS connection to the debugger, and we're basically running the debugger in the background, and like Node is talking to it, and it's a little bit complicated and took many months to do this. But now we can actually have a step debugger where a beginner can take a very simple program and just step through it, and can step into or step over execution. There's also, maybe not in this version, but in the next version we'll have stopping points, so you can like run to a, execute to a stopping point, a break point, and then continue from there. But right now what I like is this step over, step into the situation with the printing out the variables. It doesn't do global variables yet, it only does local variables. But I think for now this is still pretty good.
We're investing a lot of resources in this Web ID. This is a big bet for us. We think that kids, say everybody, will be learning Python. And we think doing it on the Raspberry Pi is a great way to go. And we think step debugging is a necessity if you want to teach really well.
So now we can actually write tutorials.
Yeah.
Like actually, like
did the thing blink? Step through, and when it gets to it, man, like you can actually get how code works.
You can actually see, like, okay, it didn't turn on. Like now you know did it just turn on and turn off really fast, or did you get the variable wrong?
Yeah.
Well, instead of like guessing, you can actually look at the variable output and see, like, oh shoot, my variable didn't increment, or my variable I didn't initialize it, or whatever. So we can actually start writing tutorials now. Like, I didn't want to do it until we had a step debugger, because I didn't want to write tutorials where people couldn't step through the execution, because programming in Python and in microcontrollers is linear thinking, separate from VHDL and CPLDs, which is parallel thinking. Most programming is linear thinking, and the best way to learn to program is to have both your linear thought process and a linear step-through process. You can line up your expectations with what's happening in the program. I didn't grow up with a debugger, so I'm actually like not used to it. But I do think that it does not make sense for people nowadays to not grow up with a debugger.
If you want to start programming, check out the Web IDE. There's tons of resources on Python. It's not going to be the Death Star petition.
What's with this Death Star thing today?
For the White House, and it's not going to be the metric system petition, but because not a lot of people know about this. But if Python were taught in schools just like a foreign language, you have to take a foreign language and you have to take a programming language.
Yeah.
Within 10 years, America would completely transform. Completely transform.
Yeah, everyone would know regular expressions.
Everyone would know Python is, and you know what? Unlike taking the French classes, unless you actually go and use it, after you have a few years of French, you kind of lose it. Python, you'd use it because computers are everywhere. You'd actually use it. Yeah. You could glue anything together with code. Anyways.
And you'd have strong opinions about tabs versus spaces.
You would.
Okay.
All right.
Next up.
So that was it. One last thing, and then we're just going to move on, and then we're going to answer some questions. So this Thursday night is the 2nd annual Worldwide Maker Meetup. We might show up.
Where
if
is
we can. It's online in Google Hangouts.
Okay.
And Make is putting it together. Look on the Adafruit site. Look on the Make site. We're going to try to show up, and if we're around, you're going to talk about all the stuff we've been doing with Raspberry Pi.
Okay,
this is the theme. They should have waited till March 14th, 314. That would have been nice.
We'll do the third one.
Yeah, we'll do a third one. Okay. Just an idea.
The 3.14th one.
Yeah. Okay. One quick segment, and then we're going to do questions. Top secret. It's not out yet. Don't ask. Don't ask. It's not out yet. Okay. This is from Phil, Paint Your Dragon. He took some photos. They're really beautiful. Just wanted to show them. Maybe this is something you'll see soon. Maybe not. Next up, we got permission to do a Perl badge to add to our skill badges. I actually emailed the Perl Foundation a year and a half ago, and the email got lost, and then they found it, and they said, yes, you can make a Perl badge. So some people asked for it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. And now this is a really super secret thing. You have not seen this. What I'm about to show you have not seen. This is an animation test from our new game, Circuit Playground, Moe's Revenge. World premiere. And we're just playing around with animations, by the way. Keep in mind, this might not be anything final. We're just playing around.
What?
This is playing around. This is kind of like what I imagine Pixar must have been like when they were just playing around with stuff. That's what I imagine it's like. But anyways, Circuit Playground, animation test number 1. So this is what happens when Moe the Resistor, something goes wrong, and the blue smoke monster comes out of him.
Why are you doing this over and over again to poor Moe?
Yeah. So this is an animation test. Isn't this beautiful? Yay! Oh. Okay.
I like how his eyes pop a little bit.
Yeah. So that's it. So we're doing some animation tests.
Horrifying.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
It's question time.
Question time.
Engineering questions. Folks, ask away.
Not questions about things that you just saw because they're not out yet. Also, we have no new products this week. Next week.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to know if you will have the Pi Mega Bundle without the Pi, and will you have the Flora Smart Pixels for sale as a panel off the Pick and Place?
We will have more Pi stuff in stock. We unfortunately keep selling out, but we are going to be back on Pi Track next week.
Yeah.
Just wait, look on the blog. As soon as we have it, we'll announce it.
Big week for Raspberry Pi stuff coming up.
Yeah, we're trying really hard. It's just it's tough because it's in demand. Yeah. We don't know if we'll have panels off the Pick and Place. Right now, we're selling them in batches of 4. The problem is that the panels that we get sometimes when we get PCBs, one of the PCBs doesn't pass test from the PCB factory, and so there's 19 or 24 pixels out of 25. But we might eventually, we'll also be revising the pixels shortly, and we might sell panels at that time. But for now, they're available in packs of 4, and you can pick them up. Next week, we'll have some more in stock.
Yeah. Next up, what is MOSFET's favorite product? Probably if we stuff one of the plushies with catnip.
Yeah, definitely Hans stuffed with catnip. He'll just go crazy. We should definitely not do that in Filament Fill.
Is the web ID open source? If so, where can I contribute?
It's on GitHub.
It's on GitHub. Amongst our 150 other repos?
Yeah, something like that. But it's the top on the list.
Our repos have repos. Next up, I'm an Arduino beginner. What product do I need that I don't know I need? That's actually a good question.
I'd get the Ardex and look through what's in there. But if you just search around our sensors, a lot of people really like to add sensors. Sensors are hot. Yeah. An LCD and a sensor is usually fun.
Someone says, a few weeks ago I asked a question about the Times Square watch band. What I meant was the retailer or wholesaler you guys get them from. So we work with a partner that we actually at a factory. but you can go online and just search for watch bands, and you can find them at a really low price.
We actually get these from a factory that makes watches, and we kind of have a special deal with them where we have to buy like 500 watch bands.
Yeah, but you can find them for pretty much the same price anywhere, because watch bands are all standard. Like, we first saw ones like this on Canal Street.
If you look for like jelly watch band, like or silicone watch band, you'll probably see something like it pop up.
What's the coolest project you developed? Do you have a favorite?
The latest one?
Yeah.
I like the Times Square watch.
Like Times Square watch?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So latest thing I like.
I'm a Flora fan.
Flora fan.
Next up, do you have white wearable pixels? Could you? I want to make a ball cap with built-in headlamp. That's a neat idea.
We actually did think about whether we wanted to have the pixels that were only white, but then we decided like it would get very confusing. If you turn on all the LEDs, they're fairly bright white, so that's the only thing we can suggest. Turn on all the LEDs at once.
Okay. Next up, what's your favorite brand of paste or liquid flux for SMD soldering?
We use the Amtech LF4300. That's kind of what we use. Seems good. Was suggested. We like it.
Okay. I'm new to electronics. I have a Raspberry Pi. However, I'm sure whether the GPIOs are analog or digital. And for whichever, how do I hook up these types of sensors?
Check out our tutorials in the learn.adafruit.com system. We have a whole bunch of Raspberry Pi tutorials. All the Raspberry Pi GPIOs are digital, but we have tutorials on how to connect analog sensors.
Okay. Next up, I've gotten the Arduino Micro. What would be a good robotics type project for it?
With the Micro, you can connect some servos to it and then have like your computer control the servos or something. Like that could be a fun project.
Yeah. Next up, SMD soldering tool suggestion.
We have a whole bunch of great tools in our shop. Okay. Tweezers.
What's the best source for a conductance probe?
I don't know.
Okay.
Good question.
Someone has forked the web ID while they're on the show. That's great.
Okay.
Good thing to do while you're watching the show.
Go for it.
Next up, were you at CES? If yes, what was the coolest thing you discovered?
Nope, no, we weren't at Texas.
We weren't at CES. We were at Texas. But I want to say something. If people want to see improvements to CES, because this year, yet another year, the big thing was just booth babes. Why is 99% of the women who are participating in the show just booth babes? You know what? If everyone doesn't go for 1 year to CES and just say, hey, we want to see some changes, it'll solve itself.
I saw some pretty gross photos.
Someone sent a photo around, and it was pretty unhappy women, and they were in body paint. And there was just guys taking photos of them in front of a hard drive manufacturer. That was their big idea. And, like, you know what? Like, that's not... Like, no one wants to take their kid there and say, like, oh, you know, here's my daughter. Like, this is what you can do if you get into tech.
Yeah.
You know, like...
If you design, like, the new, one-time encoding for hard drives, you, too, can be buck naked in front of 1,000 strangers.
So we are what we celebrate, and we should give CES some good feedback. And one of them is to say, hey, we're just not going to go this year.
Not that there's anything wrong with being buck naked in front of thousands of people, if that's your thing. But I don't...
It's just these photos. It always looks sad. Everyone looks sad and miserable. They don't look very happy.
They don't look excited. They don't look like they're paid enough for it.
So, anyways, you know, just don't go 1 year. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Just don't go.
We don't go. I've never been.
I used to go to CES every year, and it was because I had to cover it. I would write about it, gadget stuff, and I would just go to the Weird Hall. And
the Weird Hall, I heard, is fun.
And I'll tell you the best thing. I remember going all the way to the back because I couldn't stand the other part, and it's just like, oh man, it's not my scene. And there was a little company called Danger, and they showed this thing called the Sidekick. And I said, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was this soap bar. It was this phone, and it flipped out, and they were just the two people standing there. No one was around, and it was just too weird. And that was the Sidekick, the Danger Sidekick, one of the coolest.
Sounds
phones.
like the best phone. Everybody had that phone.
And it was the data stuff.
There's people who to this day would still say that it's a better phone than like the iPhone. It was awesome. Like the flip around thing. Well, I mean now there's lots of phones that are like that, but at the time,
yeah.
It was the best phone.
All right.
I knew everyone.
How can you easily make an HID device such as a wired keyboard and wireless? Is it easy as attaching Bluetooth modules on each end?
I don't think so. I think it's actually a lot harder than that.
Okay. Good round of questions.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Let's do trivia.
Okay.
We're going to give away something.
Oh, boy.
Trivia question time.
Well, we can't give away this Resident.
No, I know what we're giving away.
Okay.
Lydia, tell everybody the rules.
The rules are the first person to answer this question correctly in the in the chat window is the winner. Has to be correct spelling or correct enough that we don't notice it's wrong. If you've already won a fabulous prize, you cannot enter this contest again. Only one winner per lifetime.
Okay, so tonight's prize is Mo the Resistor.
Yeah, you just saw him catch on fire.
Yeah, this is Mo the Resistor.
And now we're giving him away. Remember, even if you won something, you only won once per lifetime.
Sunglasses too, so it's nice.
I keep saying that because people are like, oh shoot, I forgot that I won.
Okay,
sorry, I won.
So if you win, email support@adafruit.com. Tonight's trivia question is, in the 1980 book, 82 book, Resi and Transi Banish the Mysteries of Electronics, who are the two authors? There are two authors.
Can you just do show and tell?
What are their names? Cut and paste it into the chat, and as soon as we see it, you win Mo the Resistor. And the reason why you're winning Mo is because it's Resi and Transi, and the code tonight is... It's not Horowitz and Hill. That's a good guess, though.
That'd be cool if it was like Horowitz and Hill's, early work. By the way, Horowitz and Hill revision 3 is still not out. No ETA.
Yeah, we had a...
What's the betting pool at?
The question is, who wrote
Who are the two
Resi
authors?
and Transi?
Banish the Mysteries of Electronics.
Banish the Mysteries of Electronics. Okay. Chalkers, congratulations. Chalkers.
I can take this off.
Won it? You can take it off. Chalkers, you won. Email support@adafruit.com. You get one Mo the Resistor. Congratulations.
Lovely tag.
Yeah. Why don't you show Mo the Resistor over the overhead and maybe a little bit about the book?
I'll yeah, he's got these little silk screened on things. He's got the bendy resistor legs, so you can insert him into a circuit board. Solder him. I would not clip his leads, although I guess you could clip the leads and then do a little thing. Mo, have you found MOSFET?
Yeah.
The sandworm.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we'll put Mo on top of MOSFET.
Yeah, we probably will. And it's now time for for double logos. Now
That's
time
cool.
for MOSFET the cat. First, his close up. It's kind of dark tonight here. It's all right. Cat. There's a cat.
He's always kind of looking to the side.
Yeah, he was hanging out here, and then here he is. And if you folks can hear that at home, that's his dignity leaking out.
He can actually kind of do this. That's kind of funnier.
Kind of likes it.
There you go.
It's waving. This is quality internet television.
He's okay with it. He's kind of falling asleep, actually. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. He's like,
Someone asked a question, how about a public project for the plushies and stop motion stories? That's a good idea. We expect people to do a whole series of things with the plushies. And we also, of course, are working on our Muppet or puppet versions of Circuit Playground. So right now we have Adabot. And each of the characters will be joining Adabot as we get ready to launch our kids show, Circuit Playground, hopefully in a couple months.
So cute. All right. Be sure to email support@Adafruit to claim your fabulous resistive prize. Squeak, squeak.
Okay. And with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Paint Your Dragon. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, George. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody who showed up tonight. Thank you, everyone in the show and tell. Thank you, everyone who's been supporting Adafruit all these years. And we will see everybody next week, show and tell.
Yeah.
Saturdays at 9:30. Ask an Engineer, 10 p.m.
That's right.
And
Moss will be here for 3.5 years. Not going to stop
over
now.
3.5 years. We cannot be stopped. It's pretty easy when you know exactly what you're going to be doing Saturday night.
I know. I actually missed a party tonight.
Did you?
Yeah, I got invited to a birthday party. I can go.
Yeah?
So.
I didn't get invited to. Oh, I know which birthday party you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. We're boring. We're boring.
Can't go.
We stay home, but we get to talk to thousands of people. So you have to look at the.
I know.
Yeah.
No,
it's a party in the virtual world.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm gonna go to sleep. Okay. Good night, everybody. Here is your moment of Zener.